What's going on, y'all? Welcome back to the Playground Pod for episode number 7. Nukie, how we doing today? How you feeling? How you living?
Yeah, I'm doing pretty well. How are you doing?
Man, I'm doing good. I've been sick the last week. I'm pretty sure you gave me through the internet like some kind of sickness, and it's probably entirely your fault. That just seems like the best way to do things.
It sounds right. I'm like borderline always sick. I actually got a stuffy nose this morning, so
That's good. That's good. I'm
we're
actually happy
starting.
that you got it because I don't want it anymore. I'm ready to pass it over to you.
Oh
So we're
yeah,
gonna do that. Well,
relatable.
y'all, thank y'all so much for joining us today. For anyone who is interested, football season is right around the corner. So if you would like to participate in the Playground Fantasy Football League, free league, anyone can join. Make sure y'all hit the link in the Discord. Join the Discord. The link will be for the Discord server in the description. Any platform you're listening to, we'll make sure we get that on there. Thank y'all so much for watching. Nukie, today we got some really cool stuff here. There's actually the first thing I want to talk about is this new thing from Kick. So it was like leaked a few months ago. They were gonna set up a hourly wage for people to stream on Kick, and obviously this would probably be based off of like your CCV, how many viewers you have. Maybe I wonder if you hit certain sub requirements, like if you have however many active subscribers, you get a higher tier. I think that would be really cool. But Kick has announced the first 33 streamers to be in here, and I'm gonna be honest, I don't know who most of these people are. But there is one guy who I actually am really happy is in here. Amaze, who is a Destiny creator. Honestly, amazing dude. Really great content, really positive individual. And he does like freestyle rap.
Oh, see,
Like
I
while
like
doing
that.
like Destiny raids.
I think it's great to hear that neither of us are like familiar with most of those creators because it's not the train wrecks and XQC and
Yeah.
everyone
And like I'm
everyone
sure
big.
there's some pretty trash human beings in here. Like I think there's just a matter. I mean, anytime you have a group of more than like 3 people, there's bound to be a shitty human being in the group.
Oh yeah, I mean that's almost guaranteed.
Yeah, and even from like the article, Eddie from Kick, whatever you want to call him, they put out. It looks like the range is anywhere from like 10 to 10,000. So I do like that, like small creators, like people who aren't even like in their own partner program or would qualify for their own partner program, are like involved in this, and I think that's really cool. I think that Kick, because I'm someone who is, I think I've been a Kick dick rider. I think I have personally like been a bigger Kick fan than anyone on any platform ever. I have
Yeah.
definitely never called them a crypto gambling site. I would never say that. Anyone who says that is lying to you.
Oh, absolutely. I think the exact opposite is true, of course. They don't have any crypto gambling on the website. They
Not
don't
at
even
all.
do
Not at all.
gambling.
They definitely like most of their employees and like founders definitely don't also have stake in their bio ever. Like there's no way.
No, it's
No
not like
shot.
it's not like all of their employees have stake in their Twitter accounts
Yeah,
or
I mean
sorry,
there's no
X
way.
accounts. I'm calling it Twitter. I don't
I
care.
will never call it X. Like that's just so dumb. Elon, sue me. Please do actually. You can have all of my nothing. Like I'm gonna be honest, there's more debt than there is like things to take. So like do your thing. I don't know what to tell you there, bud.
Finally be free.
No, but I think like actually like not like I don't enjoy like I don't purposely like shit on Kick, obviously. I actively stream on Kick. They're one of my most active platforms as far as streaming. So like I definitely hope Kick does well, and I think when Kick does good things like this, they should be given their props and their due. So like this is actually a really cool thing. I think it's going to become more, how does this work? Like how do they prevent bots from counting as viewers? Because like what if I just like, because then now you can literally just pay for 100 bots to be in your channel and still make money. So I think
Yeah.
that's something they're going to have to fight with, and they're going to have to figure out. And it's going to be this constant war of we patch a hole, they make another hole. We patch the hole, they make another hole.
Yeah, I think they're really boxing themselves into that position with this hourly pay thing. To be clear though, I think it's a great option. It's very exciting. Because it's an opportunity for content creators to kind of bridge that gap between not quite making enough to go full time
Mm-hmm.
and making enough to go full time. And so I think it's a good move by Kick. I think it's a good investment because the happier you make people, the better content that gets produced. And when you're taking the stress of money off people's backs, they're not just hunting for every financial opportunity they can.
Yeah, and I think that's a good thing that we're creating more ways for creators to earn. I think that is never something that should be like shit on, to be honest, unless it's like through terrible means, like I don't know, like gambling sponsorships through like stake or something. Like I don't know. I can't really think of anything.
There's never enough opportunity out there. So the more opportunities we create, the better off it's going to be for everyone in the space. And I think it's a good move. It's well played. And it's also a good kick and kick in Twitch's direction. Because they continue to create features that cost creators more money.
Yeah.
Like super chats, where they now make less than 50%.
Yeah, that's kind of insane. To me, like I can understand the sub split thing to a degree, but to me, like if I'm giving bits, if I'm like donating, if I'm doing like super chats, whatever we're calling them, like to me, I should get 100% of that revenue.
I mean, the thing that I'm still trying to wrap my head around, I've spent a lot of time trying to wrap my head around, is that when you are a content creator, I believe you technically fall under a 1099 in
Yes.
the US at least.
Yes.
Yeah, so you're under a contract position is what that's considered. And so they actually can write off some percentage of contractor wages. So it's actually surprising to me that Twitch hasn't done something like this already, because growth, opportunity, more content creators, more viewers.
Yeah.
But like it's Amazon. Like they find every way to write taxes off. And like it's not something new for them.
For sure.
So seeing something like this from Kick before Twitch is actually really kind of surprising, but also really fantastic.
Yeah. I think it's also something I want to point out really quick. So I was actually trying to find Eddie's Twitter bio. So I put in @Kick Eddie, and that didn't pull anything up, and I was really confused by it. Like I even put like Kick space Eddie @Eddie Kick @Kick Eddie, but when I put in @Steak Eddie, then it came out immediately. So that's really weird. I don't know. Maybe that's like a maybe Elon should get on that. Like he should probably fix that. Also, I think it's like his banner's off too, because like you see Steak before you see Kick.
You do, yeah.
Yeah, so like I don't know, maybe he needs to get updated. Like maybe he hit like save and like Twitter's just slow, you know?
Yeah, it also falls to the side of it's not just Eddie. It's every single employee at Kick.
Yeah. But like my thing is like, so here's literally his bio. Co-founder @Stake at some other company. I don't know who they are. Oh, yep, there we go. Gambling company. Another gambling company. It's weird that, hey Eddie, what's going on there, buddy? I thought you were like a Kick guy. It's weird. That's like the third one. You don't lead with Kick. You lead with Stake, another Stake-like company, and then Kick. It's really weird how that works. Huh.
Yeah.
That's odd to me. It's weird.
I mean,
must be a glitch.
I think
Someone
that
check the code. Can we check the code? Elon! Elon!
I do think that Stake and Eddie particularly are one of the few groups that is very well positioned in the market to do a platform like Kick.
Yeah.
I don't think many other companies can do this. I think the limitation on companies is literally like Amazon, Microsoft, Apple, and gambling companies. I really think those are kind of the main 4 groups of companies that can really fall in that direction.
Yeah.
Google potentially, but I mean, we see what they're doing with YouTube live streaming and not really putting a big focus on live streaming because they don't have to. But also like it'd be nice to see more competition, and I think that's really what Kick brings to the table right now.
I agree. And I think Kick has an opportunity to really change the live streaming space in the same way that YouTube has done so, in the same way that Mixer, when they were around, did the same thing. And I hope that they do. I genuinely hope that Kick has a broad positive outreach on the community, on the live streaming space as a whole. And I'm just concerned when the face of your platform is, as streamers, is at this point, it is Aiden and XQC. They are the biggest streamers on your platform. They have in the last month been accused of very anti-queer things. XQC has been accused of literally just stealing content. I don't believe, I haven't done any research in this, so like don't like crucify me in the comments. Or do. I don't really care. Either way, just do it. Fuck it. You know? I don't believe he's actually paid the person who made that original video yet. like he
I
said he would. And I know like he's really broke. He definitely didn't just sign him like $100 million deal with Kick. So like hiring an assistant for I don't know like $80,000 a year, which I feel like would be actually really like a lot of money for most people.
well, I mean,
I
yeah,
don't know like what does a personal assistant go for? Like 50, 60?
shoot, most of actually less than that. It's usually about
Yeah.
16 to 17 an hour.
Well, I'm just
And
thinking like someone who's on call 24/7, 365.
I've seen some creators hire assistants actually that do that specifically. Um, and I mean, one of them a couple months ago got fired because they specifically listed in the job description that you had to live close enough to them so that you could come clean their kitchen.
Yeah. Oh my god.
That person specifically was offering like 90,000 a year. So
Okay, so
like,
this is just like literally just googling it off of Glassdoor. The top of the line in like Los Angeles, so like a very high cost of living. You're looking a little under 70.
yeah, I think that's a. I mean, you're gonna let's be realistic here. On $100 million deal, that is going to cover the cost of that personal assistant on just the interest alone. Um,
On the signing bonus alone, like literally, like I'm okay. I'm not trying to get on some XQC hate train because I don't need that in my life.
no, I think it's a good point though, because looking at content creation and how that flows, most of the creators who do really well on platforms, and I'm going to point out like Amaranth and people of that nature, they hire personal assistants to do a lot of tedious stuff.
Yeah,
In fact, Amaranth has an entire company dedicated to doing that kind of stuff.
yeah. I mean,
Um,
even like just going from like someone who is less, I guess, controversial in the space, like Tim the Tatman. Like there is a running joke in his community that like Whips is his dad, and like Whips is like the adult in the room, and like yeah, he is
yeah, you
because
need someone like that.
like let's just be honest here. Tim could literally buy most companies, like most like small companies, and not even blink,
He could,
and just be like, "That's fine."
and that really speaks to, excuse me, the size of a lot of these creators too. Oh, not even
Yeah,
a lot. It's a small handful of creators that really get to this point. But
for sure. But
like,
that list is growing.
yeah, I
I think
mean,
every day, every time a new creator is signed to an exclusive deal, that list grows.
yeah, and these creators have opportunity to really change their own lives and lives of people around them. So I think looking at like the Whips Tim the Tatman situation as well, like as much as I want to pretend that Tim is probably I mean, I know for a fact he's a smart individual. Like he wouldn't be where he is without.
I think he has like a master's in like social work too. Like he's not a dumb guy.
Yeah, no, but like when you're in a position like that, you're an entertainer. It's what you do for a living. You're gonna you're gonna do the same. I mean, most people do the same thing I do, um and just buy shit. Like
Yeah,
we've seen videos where Tim spends like 10K on crates in CS:GO. Um,
yeah.
and opens all of them. Like that's not just 10K. That's 10K plus 250 for every single crate.
But also like, how much are they making off that? You know what I mean?
Probably a good amount, to be honest. I mean,
Yeah, like I would imagine at like that rate when you have like a 20K plus CCV, like in just ads and subs alone,
yeah,
you're
yeah,
making how much on it? And then you think about all the other aspects of content creation from YouTube content to shorts content. And we're seeing even more shorts monetization. Like I know I've
mhm.
seen like my like Twitter feed has been filled with like people like posting how much they're making off like doing TikTok ads.
Yeah. I mean, even Twitter actually now with the fancy subscription that is a waste of money, you can earn some share of advertising revenue
Yeah.
from your tweets.
I
So that's
also don't
actually
think it's necessarily a waste of money. I think
I,
that if you make like genuine content for Twitter, like people who make like meme skits and like videos that way and they get
yeah.
posted on Twitter, if you're making enough money to where you're actually seeing a profit on that, yes, you should definitely get Twitter Blue at that point.
Yeah, the
If
moment you
you're
break
actually making
$10.
money, not just like, well, bro, like it's only $8 a month and like I got like 10 new followers this week off that. You know what I mean? Like no one
$12
gives
on
a shit.
iPhone.
No one cares. Like no one gives a shit. Like I
No,
subscribed to Twitter Blue for like 2 months. And sure,
I'm
I saw some followers, but I don't need to know every graphic artist in the world.
yeah, like I'm not subscribed currently. I was for 4 to 6 months. And I mean I saw benefit in my tweets.
Yeah,
I drove better engagement, better viewership.
for sure.
And so like looking at it, I'm not in a position where it makes sense to pay for it because I'm not going to make a
Yeah,
return. But when we're talking about people who average like 2 to 5,000 likes per post,
for sure.
those are people in situations where paying for it is not a bad idea at all because that is ad revenue share. So you might break even on 2 to 5, and when you get up to 10,000, you're starting to make money, and that's extra money in your pocket, and that helps grow your platform.
Yeah.
And that's an important thing that I think creators don't get enough information about
I think also
because
one thing we're not discussing right now that we need to be discussing. This is actually breaking news right now from the Earth Updates Twitter account.
oh god,
This is actually major news. Chances of randomly tripping on items increased by 20%. Actually, I think I got that update early. For those who don't know, I have actually lost a ton of weight over the last like 6 to 9 months. I am down. I think I'm like closing on like 170 pounds lost. So like, I've literally lost a person, which is
it's
actually like kind of insane to imagine. And like, I actually love when I post like a TikTok and someone be like, "Yo, fatty, go to the gym," and I'm like, you should go look at the pinned tweets. You should probably go look at those because
the
like I did.
the thing that's really crazy to wrap my head around when you mention 170 is like those memes where they're like my boyfriend told me to go to the gym, so I lost 150 pounds, and it's a picture of just them but without him.
Yeah,
You literally beat out that meme, which is just an incredible feat in
yeah,
itself. And a huge shout out to you, by the way, because that's an incredible amount of work and effort and a toll on your body for sure.
yeah. It feels really weird because like now I have to like buy like new clothes because it's like I've literally like I was telling Nukie this actually before we started filming. I actually almost fell down the stairs yesterday because I tripped over my pants. Like there's that much like extra fabric to where like I almost fell, and it was actually kind of it was. I'm gonna be honest, it was a little funny. Like I'd be lying if I said it wasn't kind of funny, but it was also kind of like, hmm, we should probably like do something about that.
Yeah, I mean it's awesome. Well done. Um,
Yeah, but
it's a huge win.
it is actually really amazing to like see that and do all that funness. I guess I don't know. But moving on from that, the other Earth updates. Next week is a limited time event where all animals will be triple their normal size until the next tweet. Which is really cool. My dog might actually break my house then. This dog does not understand space. He will literally, like, I kid you not, if you sit on the couch, he will sit this far, like, literally this far from your face and be like,
I think
"Hey, I need you to pay attention to me because I'm a dog."
I think the most important release with that update is that farting now deals recoil damage.
That's also something very dangerous because, like, you could kill, like, people are going to die. Like, we might need to actually, like
Like,
patch that.
have you ever had those ones where it like lifts you up a little bit?
You ever like I'm gonna be honest. Have you ever like after like a big meal, like you farted and like you moved a little bit?
That's what I'm referring to, where like you
Is
almost
that
like
what we're gonna
bounce a
do?
little
Like
bit.
if you're like sleeping and like you fart, are you gonna like blow yourself into the wall next to you?
No, you're gonna slowly fart yourself off the bed.
That's what I'm wondering. Like if it's like, you know, like if you have like some Taco Bell that night and then like you go to like and you do
Uh,
that and you like you're gonna literally you're gonna break your nose. You gotta be careful. We're gonna like pat our walls. Like it's gonna have to take some getting used to here.
yeah, I mean, huge shout out to the Earth underscore updates
They're
account
an
because that is
amazing,
freaking
amazing
hilarious.
Twitter follow. They're like one of the only like outside of me and Nukie in the playground, like they're probably the only Twitter accounts you need to follow. You
Yeah,
know?
absolutely. I mean, there's no one else you need to follow because we give all the information.
But honestly, and speaking of good things, Nukie, we actually had some new leaks about Call of Duty, and I know you pay way more attention to that than I do. So like, talk to me.
Yeah, so I'm obviously absolutely enthralled with Call of Duty. I'm back in playing ranked play this season, and I'm really looking forward to the Modern Warfare 3 announcement, which just
Mm-hmm.
happened this past week in the game through the new Shadow Raid, I believe is what they called it for
I'm gonna be
Warzone.
honest. When I watched that live actually. This is like the only Call of Duty I've paid attention to in the last like 2 months. And like, can we just stop doing live events, y'all? Like, this isn't Fortnite 2019 anymore. You know, like y'all
I'd say
just
let's
don't have the sauce.
I'd say let's stop doing mediocre events.
I
Um,
don't like what game event in the last year and a half has been good.
I'd say the only event that I would support that on is the Godzilla Kong event because that literally
I will
happened a year and a
literally
half
end this
ago.
podcast right now and never record a podcast again if you
Okay, so
continue with this blasphemy.
that I had a fun time with that event. What I
Yeah, but it
didn't have
wasn't
fun,
good.
like, no, they haven't had a good or great event. They've had eh events, you
They've
know.
had below average events.
Like I didn't hate it. It was a decent enough time to play. Playing this event, it kind of actually showed the scale of the potential for Call of Duty co-op and
Yeah.
and where raids could go. I think I think this is a good example of where they could have gone with raids. Raids
Hmm.
shouldn't be 3 players going in. They should be 10, 15, 20 players going in and clearing out some really difficult stuff.
Yeah.
And doing it in small squads. I think that actually makes sense. Approach it from the battlefield side or the squad side or literally any other tac shooter side and make it a specific game mode. They've done a good job with that. Well, good job might be a stretch with DMZ, and with the zombies expansions and things of that nature. But with this event, we did get to see a trailer which teased the new campaign, which I am always excited about.
You know
But
me. I'm all about campaigns and Call of Duty exclusively. I think we should actually stop making Call of Duty games and just make campaigns. I think that's really, I mean, who doesn't play Call of Duty exclusively for the campaign and co-op content? And like, just like, what's Warzone? I've never heard of that.
you heard it here first, people. Praww actually
I actually
prefers
love that.
campaign to
I'm gonna get it
multiplayer.
tattooed on my chest. I play COD for campaigns.
Concha is going to be so happy about being
I'm gonna
mentioned.
literally,
And
I'm gonna lose my voice today. I just got it back. It's not gonna last 12 hours.
okay, so while I'm excited about the campaign, I'm more excited about the multiplayer changes they're bringing back to the game. They're bringing some really good movement changes that I'm excited about. You're going to be able to do cancels on slide animations, which is slide canceling.
Oh,
And
thank God we got slide canceling back. Good thing no one
but
complained about that for 3 years.
the good thing is that they're not resetting tac sprint when you slide cancel. So what happened in
Okay,
Warzone
that's good.
1 is you literally slide cancel and it redid your tac sprint. So you could keep doing it over and over and over and over. You'd fly across the map. So that's not going to be quite possible. You can cancel partial reloads during animations to immediately return fire. There is a cutoff point where you can no longer cancel the reload. I think that's good. Um, Mantling is faster. You can mantle while you're sprinting, which is an issue in the current game. If you're running, you literally can't mantle things,
Mm-hmm.
which is like boggles my mind because that's just like a normal thing. You can literally do it in real life. And I think it's weird. You can fire during and immediately after sliding, which I think is super exciting. There's going to be a small little break where it stops you from firing, but during and after you're able to do it. So I think that's really cool. They're increasing tac sprint durations. The exact duration is going to depend on the weapon category you're using, so I think that's a good change. And then also tac sprint will recharge while you're sprinting, which
Okay.
I think that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
It helps speed up the gameplay. They're also introducing a new movement mechanic called the tac stance, which Activision is describing as the perfect middle ground between hipfire and ADS. So the big things are the operator unshoulders the weapon and holds it in a canted firing position. I'm a big fan of canted weapons. I think it's a cool way to play, and it's also like it's semi-natural to some extent. You can toggle in and out of tac stance dynamically while ADSing. It will trade precise accuracy for improved mobility. Some spread to your firing will occur. That's why they're kind of describing it as a nice middle ground. When you're fully at hip fire
Sure.
versus ADS, there's a huge spread difference.
Mm-hmm.
And this kind of fits in the middle of those two. And then it's designed to be used in aggressive CQC situations. And by default, when you're sliding, you do tac stance. So you're not quite ADSing or hip firing while you're sliding. You're defaulting to this like quite off the shoulder, just quick peeking down almost down the barrel.
Yeah.
And I think that's a good way for them to approach that. I think that's healthy. As part of the Modern Warfare 3 reveal event, because those are all the kind of gameplay changes that we saw. We also got the information about the beta start dates. We do have confirmation that PlayStation will be getting it early, despite the potential closing of Activision sale to Xbox this month. Actually, I believe is when it's set to take place. Beta will be taking place October 6 to 10 for PlayStation, October 12 to 16 for everyone else, is what a report from Insider Gaming says. The dates are not yet confirmed. It would be a few weeks later than the 2022 Modern Warfare 2. The game is also being released, let me confirm, in November. Not in October, like Modern Warfare 2 was last year. So it's going back to those Black Ops 1 in 2 days when you were waiting for November 9th, 10th, and 11th for the 3 game releases.
I think that's the best way to do it, because then also like for like the kids and the younger generation who has to wait for Christmas, it's still fresh in their mind like 6 weeks later.
Yeah, I think that part's a really good play. I also think that it's a bit easier access for Christmas noobs. I've always been a big fan of later releases for Call of Duty, because I was a Christmas noob for a long time.
Yeah.
And going in when everyone's already prestige 5 billion and I have nothing sucked. It's just a bad experience. And pushed me away actually from playing a couple of games in the series over the years. I've gone back and played them, but it did delay my playtime on those.
Sure.
Some of the exciting things related, of course, the Modern Warfare 3 beta is going to be free and open to everyone with early access for people who pre-order. There's a ton of stuff in the pre-order editions of each of the games as well. Particularly looking at the Vault Edition, they've got 2 Vault weapons this year. They've got the 50 tier skips on the Black Cell. So it's not a huge change. You're getting some operators. All your gameplay items will carry over from Modern Warfare 2 to Modern Warfare 3. The game's built on the same engine. It's not a huge fidelity upgrade or anything like that from Modern Warfare 2. And it's designed to be as such. It's still a premium release, but it's not this like night and day Black Ops 2 to 3 difference. Because it's literally Modern Warfare 2, Modern Warfare 3 in sequence, which we've never done before. So I'm hoping to see some good things there. We do know Makarov is coming back into the game, and that part I'm excited about.
Say Makarov?
Makarov?
Oh, I heard Makarov, and I was like, what are you talking about?
The villain from Modern Warfare 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah. I'm well aware of him, yes. My favorite part is in Modern Warfare 3 when, like, I forget what happens. I think, like, a cord wraps around his chest and he's taken to safety. And, like, it definitely didn't go anywhere inappropriate and then slam him into a glass floor. That definitely didn't happen. Like, that doesn't sound like Call of Duty. Honestly, I think his death is the happiest I've ever been in a video game.
Oh yeah, I mean he is
even more villain. Than when like you put a throwing knife in Shepard's eye.
That
I'm gonna be honest. That was just what you knew that was gonna happen.
Yeah, you knew you were doing something.
Like once you knew, like that was honestly so like that was like my first FPS, like shooter was MW2, and I always had like when I was a kid, like my brothers always convinced me that like you have to play the campaign before the multiplayer, or the multiplayer like won't make sense, which like obviously is complete fucking bullshit now. Thanks, brothers. Appreciate you.
Absolutely.
So I was like, oh man, is he gonna get away with it? And then when you do it, and I was like, oh, this is my game. This is now my entire life.
Yeah, I mean I started on Call of Duty Finest Hour, throwback, and playing through the series over the years has been such a great value add to my life. The most exciting thing to me, despite the David Vonderhaar exit from Activision this week, which I'm not saying I'm excited about that. I'm actually really heartbroken about that because he's been. I think an absolute
his impact is not known to a lot of people, and like that guy, he repped Call of Duty when no one repped Call of Duty.
Yeah,
especially in the competitive side. Like there are pictures of him at events in like Black Ops 1, Black Ops 2 days, like showing out for the fucking comp community when like when players were playing for free,
Yeah,
like their salaries
always
were
been
tournament
huge.
winnings, and that's it. There was no money at all. So like we talk about like how like there's like been this like big decrease in esports salaries. They didn't have salaries then. There's a reason like OG Scump and Nade Shot were fucking playing Minecraft at midnight. Like it's so they could keep the heat on.
Yeah, they've always.
That dude, he deserves everyone's fucking respect because he kept the scene alive on his own fucking shoulders.
I will say his exit leads to a pretty interesting point as well, though, because he's now joining an undisclosed project that he can't talk about.
I would love, you know, it would be hilarious if he went to
an
XDefiant.
esports game. Oh my god, that'd be
I don't
nuts.
think he would. I think it's too late for someone like him to join that project.
Yeah,
I
think
could
so too.
see.
He needs to be there from the ground.
I know there was like the BR with like Tim the Tatman, Nick Merckx, Cypher PK, and Courage. I don't think there's any like real info on that. There's also 100 Thieves is making their own video game as well, so I could see him going to one of those projects that are still relatively unknown.
I'd say I'd prefer to see him joining the 100 Thieves project because I think the work that he did in the esports industry, pairing up with an esports team and Nade Shot and the whole crew, it's a great opportunity for branding. It's a great opportunity for furthering esports.
Yeah,
and overall, it's just a great opportunity. I think that he's going to do well no matter where he goes, and I hope that his next project continues to push the bounds of esports because I think he's one of the few people who can really do that. But getting back to Modern Warfare 3, Treyarch is stepping in to handle the zombies experience, which is coming to Modern Warfare for the first time.
Absolute W.
It's great to hear. Sledgehammer is not doing a game in the past or the future finally. So we finally get to... I'm going to be honest.
God.
Sledgehammer makes good modern games.
You know what? I'm going to give y'all the benefit of the doubt that you've been hampered by Activision for the last like 15 years. Like, if you know what? If y'all make this a W game, I'll take everything bad I've ever said about Sledgehammer, which I'm going to be honest, there's a big library out there, boys.
It's huge. Sledgehammer has put out bad games in the past, and it's not the fault of the developers per se. It's just the fault of direction and
they put out more bad games than Elon Musk puts out old memes.
Then bad updates to Twitter.
And then has to walk it back because it's illegal. What? I didn't say that. Elon, I love you. Please sue me. I would Elon, you know what? Hold on. Because I know like Elon and Zuck won't fight. Elon, I'll fight you, brother. Any day. Homie, you roll up to the crib. I'll fight you on my front lawn.
I'm going to be honest, I'm driving to your house for that one.
That's the only time Nukie will leave his house. Y'all, in the comments, tell us you want to see me and Musk throw it the fuck down.
Oh, man. But like we talked about actually on a previous recent podcast, Modern Warfare 3 is bringing 16 modernized maps from 2009's Modern Warfare 2. So with that in mind, I'm hoping, as Praww previously said before, that we're moving towards live service. I think the Call of Duty franchise is due for a live service game. We had Call of Duty Online. It worked really well in China. I had an opportunity to play it for quite a while. I had a good time with the game. I don't think it's not super memorable, but I think that they could do a really good job rolling into an annual release that's more about quarterly rollouts for new content.
Like, there's 40 amazing maps in COD history.
Absolutely.
Like there's at least 10 in MW2, Black Ops 1, Black Ops 2. That's 30 right there.
Yeah, absolutely.
We're 3/4 of the way there, and we haven't even touched COD 4, World at War, Black Ops 3, Black Ops 4. I think they stopped making games after that, right? Like there was no more games after Black Ops 4. They just like stopped.
Yeah, they had Black Ops Cold War, but
what's that? I've never heard of that.
That's when they went really arcade
Cold
shooter.
War? Cold War. I've never heard of that. Are you sure? I remember there was like this like beta of Call of Duty Vanguard they put out, but I don't think there was ever like any like full game released on that, right? Like,
yeah, I'm pretty sure they stopped after the Black Ops.
I think they saw like everyone was like, "This is dog shit," and they just like stopped.
Yeah, that's so fucked. But I think it's exciting that they're taking a lot of older maps, rebuilding them, and starting to add them to the series. it's about time. We've been asking for that for over 10 years. Um, because literally after Modern Warfare 3 exited in 2011, literally we've always been asking for remakes of, I'm pretty sure it was 2011. I think Modern Warfare 2 was 2009. Yeah, 2009.
It
So
came
it would have been,
out in.
it's either 11 or 12.
I'm trying to find. I think it would have been 11.
Yeah, I think because we were doing every other year cycles between Black Ops and Modern Warfare at that time. Nonetheless,
Yeah, it was 11.
there's a lot of opportunity here. I'd love to see a live service game. I'd love to see that. What I would love to see is I'd love to see them segment the zombies experience, the campaign experience, and the multiplayer experience into essentially 3 little prongs, and have the individual teams focus on each one, live service them all, and push them. And
Yeah,
that's
I don't
all
see
they
why
do.
we aren't doing that.
Because it makes no sense that they're not at this point. I mean, the
Yeah,
campaign, I'd
like
say, makes sense to do it as its own release, but like the zombies experience and the multiplayer experience are small maps. They've always been the same kind of rotational items. They should just do a live service. Call of Duty Online, they just launched the Call of Duty hub, so now all the games are just going to be under the Call of Duty hub.
I think
um
that's where we're heading. Like I
I
think I think Call of Duty is going to follow the Destiny trajectory and like the way they do their stuff, to where like it's not a monthly subscription service, but it's marketed as free to play, but that really only
Mhm.
means it's free to download. And we
Yeah.
have like you have to buy the DLC content packs, and like but with the content packs, you get all the content and you get all the maps and all the guns, and I think that would be the smart way to do it.
I think so too. I think it's really kind of interesting because there's so much opportunity here to go in different directions that I just don't know what necessarily the right answer is.
Yeah,
But in my mind, it's a live service game. It's
it
about
should be.
time. It
Yeah,
needs to happen. We're all sick of not having live service at this point. Like I think most people would prefer that Call of Duty just goes live service, uses the same engine, and does occasional giant updates like Fortnite does.
yeah,
That's another example of a great live service title that's almost entirely free to play.
it's free to
That
play for sure.
well, I mean,
What paid aspect of Fortnite is there outside of cosmetics?
yeah, it's cosmetics.
I mean, it's skins. Like we're all buying the skins. Like I bought the
Yeah,
Futurama skin, played one game, and never logged back in. Like
yeah, that sounds about right. Yeah, I mean that's really what it comes down to is skins. That's where we're at in the series and the franchise. And I think it's about time. Um, I think that's it. That's my whole statement there
yeah, I
on
think
that.
I really hope, beyond hope, that they have finally pulled their head out of their asses. And like it seems like they're actually like the thing that actually like pisses me off the most about like all this COD news. It isn't that it's good or bad. It's that they're just doing what we asked 5 years ago. Like
Yeah,
we're
they're
not getting
finally
great new content. Like they're not reinventing the wheel. We're just unfucking the last 5 years.
Yeah, I genuinely hope that with the Microsoft merger, that Microsoft lets them just focus on what the fans ask for.
Yeah, and I'm
Um,
like I want to believe a lot of these like video game issues that we've had the last few years is just publishers who just want to see dollar signs.
I wouldn't be surprised if we do. I mean, we see Activision Blizzard King. We see the employees that come out of there and specifically state almost that exactly.
Yeah.
We see that come from EA, Ubisoft, lots of different organizations who should be doing very well, and they just struggle for whatever reason they decide to, and not they just don't listen, and it blows. Rolling into different gaming news, Baldur's Gate 2 is out. It's been out now for a couple of weeks. I've already gotten a ton of time in it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm excited about the game. Thankfully, I've had a pre-order for forever on this game because I'm a huge fan of the Baldur's Gate
I'm a
franchise.
Fran.
I'm a fan.
Yo, my grandma used to have her hair cut by a woman named Fran, and she was weird. That's a really good segue, I think, into Baldur's Gate.
That's a really good segue into Baldur's Gate. But looking at Baldur's Gate, which has officially sold 2.7 million copies of its game, which is a beautiful figure to hear, because previously, looking back to the original release on the 30th of November in 1998, Baldur's Gate 1 sold over the life of the game about 2 million, about 2 million units quickly after release. Baldur's Gate 2 Shadows of Anne also sold over 2 million units.
Mm-hmm.
So looking at kind of the collective data from the franchise, not including um like extra console titles that
Yeah.
kind of like they had like Dark Alliance and stuff, didn't really, those weren't successive in the franchise.
Right.
Somewhere in the range of around 5 million total units between the two games that have released already. With the release of Baldur's Gate 3, we've seen 2.7 million units and a damn near bug-free experience. And on that too, a developer that has gone harder and harder and harder on continuing to knock out all bugs and getting rid of every issue they have. Unlike much larger indie developers like Activision, who seemingly prefer cosmetics over bug fixes. And that's
That seems
just
unfair. I
a
don't know
quick hot take there.
any company who has like prioritized DLC over bug fixes or like skin packs in their store using like some kind of point system. I think that's absolutely insane that you would even say that. And any other company, yeah, that's actually a great take. I'm gonna be honest. I think that, and this is definitely gonna be hot. This is gonna be the sweatiest fucking take of my life. If you make a game that is a game breaking bug, and like, you should be forced to give everyone a refund who deals with that bug, and they also keep that game.
I think that's genuinely.
Like, you want to make a broken game? That's fine. You're gonna lose. You're gonna lose fucking money. The end.
I think there should be limitations to that. Like if you set the expectation that you're in early access, and early access should not be for AAA
sure.
developers.
Yeah, Fortnite is not early access. It's not a beta. Like stop.
You shouldn't be a $1 billion company and using free playtesting. You should be paying playtesters. Like do your job.
Yes.
Hire people who literally do work in that field, because they need the work, I'm sure.
Also, like, maybe like pay people,
That would be, stop being so controversial.
I know I'm crazy. Like maybe, like, I don't know. I know like Activision's really hurting for money. They're definitely not being bought for like $60 billion. So like I understand they're struggling just like everybody else. I had to make sure I could afford eggs today, but hey, look, they're fighting too. Bobby Kotick could only get his 4th yacht this year.
One of the crazy things, the studio, Larian Studios, has decided to fall on their own sword. When they did the hotfix number 4, it came out with a bug that stopped progression in the game. Mm-hmm. So what they did is they rolled back hotfix 4 for a day, reworked the hotfix, and rolled it back out to fix it for players. I've seen hotfixes go unfixed for a week.
Yeah,
looking at the Call of Duty franchise on that one.
A week, a season.
That has unfortunately.
That's literally been a thing where like they had like guns that didn't that were working like not as intended for literally 3 months, while also putting out like 50,000 skin packs. I mean, like remember the Rat Pack, the World Series of Warzone Rat Pack, where they had to postpone the World Series of Warzone, but still kept selling the skin bundle advertised with the World Series of Warzone stuff,
and then also made it free on Amazon Prime like a month later.
Yeah, yo, that is actually fucked when like you sell something and then make it a free bundle 6 months later. 100%. Like that is fucked up.
It'd be different if it was a DLC or an expansion pack. But when we're talking cosmetic items, that is such a dirty. It's a dirty.
And like when you're literally just ripping cosmetics and reselling them, like that is messed up.
Now, a company who doesn't rip cosmetics and doesn't even charge you for anything beyond the base game, Larian Studios did publish the roadmap. I know I'm not going to say his name right, or their name right. But I'm assuming it's Sven Vink. I hope, is one. They work at Larian. I forget their job title, but They were very enthused about all the feedback. They said it's really rewarding, and they're focused on fixing any issues that are reported, but they're listening to suggestions. Um, their current roadmap is rolling out hotfix 4, which is officially out and functioning and great. Um, B is to work on patch 1, where they're planning to incorporate over 1,000 fixes and tweaks to the game. Huge shout out on that because it's literally been out for a couple of weeks.
For sure.
And then they're working on patch 2, which will incorporate some requests. And patch 2, they've already confirmed, will include a feature, because this has been kind of a big complaint, that you can't currently edit the cosmetic features of your character later in the game.
Okay.
That's going to change. You can change. You'll be able to edit them at any time, and modify the way your character's appearance looks. And I'm actually excited about that because, like, right now my character doesn't have any scars, but as I go through combat and things like that, I actually wanted to add things like
Yeah.
that to my character because I thought that would just kind of add to the level of immersion. And so the cool story is that's happening. I know PlayStation is getting access to, or will be getting access to Baldur's Gate on the 6th of September as well.
That's dope.
Yeah, so huge win for Larian. Very well done. They've done a phenomenal job. Really just looking forward to playing more of this game.
Yeah, I think like anytime like we've seen, like I know I've seen on like Twitter, a lot of devs like from other games, like, well, this isn't something you should be used to. I'm like, no, it is actually. Like, this is actually how it used to be. Like, you used to
It
put
is.
out full games and then you made new content and sold it. It wasn't you made half a game and then you sold that content and then just said, oh well, here's half a game, we'll take, and then you raise the price of base games for less content. Like, that to me is actually so fucked.
I think kind of the peak time for me in games was like the Black Ops 1 era, where they'd release a full game. It was good at launch. It functioned. I mean, they usually had server issues, but there was just so many people getting on at any given
Yeah.
time. It's hard. It's a challenge. I won't diss that at all. And then, like, when the season pass system rolled out, I thought that was going to be really good because I mean, objectively, there should be more content. There's not. Because we used to get map packs. If for those of you who weren't alive during that time, I understand you're not familiar with it, but what we would get is we'd get a full game with like 16 maps. And then what we would do from there is we would pay $15 every 3 months to get a new DLC. And those DLCs would carry us over to the next game.
Yeah, and you would end up with 30 maps for like $100.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I mean, and you could always buy the season pass included with the game and things like that, and that covered that. It was a year-long season pass. It wasn't 3 months of
Yeah.
skins. It was
Yeah,
3
I remember
months
like I used to get the
new
season
map.
passes for CODs because it was like, okay,
100%.
I'm going to play this game the entire year. So
Yeah,
like for me just to get, pay an extra $30 now, and then as long as you play at least 2 of the map packs, the math adds up. Like the math the math works.
And we were almost there with the modern season passes when Modern Warfare 1 2019 came out and we were playing on Warzone 1. I think I guess it was probably, what year is it? 2023? Yeah, that makes sense. It's been a long time and COVID still has me kind of all messed up, but
yeah, for sure.
Looking back at like Warzone 1, we were at a point where they were adding content like a whole bunch of content every 3 months. We were getting a whole bunch of map additions to Modern Warfare 1, and they were going in the direction of DLC, like it was that everyone was kind of upset about, to a free DLC with a paid season pass. And I was at one point I was excited about it, and now I'm just kind of pulling back a little bit. I mean, I get season passes because they introduce new cosmetic content sometimes that I like and things like that, but I don't think they're not the same quality that we once had, and games are not the quality that we once had, whether we want to pretend to or not. And I understand that, like, the Baldur's Gate level of polish is actually kind of crazy. Like, even a lot of the games that we were playing back in 2009 were not this level of polish. So like yes, I think there's some level of anomaly to it. It's in a very niche market and they've spent a ton of time on this release. However, simultaneously, I think there's just as much polish needed in other games. I think I mean, not even that level of polish. You can go half as polished and it'd still be a much better game than where we're at now.
I think also it's
Um,
important to mention that like the quality of technology has also increased. So like why shouldn't the quality of game
yeah,
increase
I
at
mean,
a compensatory rate?
I understand like that art takes more time and things like that because we're working with much more high quality textures than ever before. I mean, we're working in 4K and 8K texture resolutions, and those are insane. There's so much work that goes into that, and I very much understand.
How many bugs did
Um,
Elden Ring have when it came out?
oh, that game had quite a few grain
Did
breaking
it?
bugs, if I recall correctly.
You thinking about
Yeah.
Cyberpunk or Elden Ring? Those are two very different games. I'm just saying. I know. I don't remember any. Like I'm also not a Souls guy, so like I don't know. But also
Yeah, they
like I'm
had
gonna be honest. Can we not call Call of Duty art?
it's I don't want to necessarily call Call of Duty art, but I also want to respect the fact that there are artists who put in a ton of effort into
For
making the
sure, for
game
sure, 100%,
visually attractive.
100% agree with that.
The campaigns I would say are visually art. I would say the multiplayer and the
That's
zombies
true. I forgot the only
experiences
reason
are
I play Call of Duty
sometimes.
is for the campaign. You're right. You're
I
right.
swear to God.
When you're right, you're right. And when you're
Yeah,
right, you're
Elden
right.
Ring actually did launch with a bleeding glitch that made the dogs the most dangerous enemies in the game.
That's actually
Um,
kind of funny.
yeah, that is. So like we have seen giant games come out, Cyberpunk, for example, with just destructive. But I mean, in fact, Cyberpunk was known for destroying graphics cards, and
Remember
not
New World? It was like brick and 40,
Mhm.
like 3090s when that came
Yeah,
out.
like these kinds of things are unacceptable. And I think that studios need, I mean, and I understand like you have pressure from publishers and that's difficult, but there's a certain amount of pushback you need to give to corporate overlords that I think is just a little bit fair for your end user. As I mean, I have a at least well versed background in UX in some capacity, and the user experience doesn't end at visual fidelity. It ends at, can I play the game? Can I not lose my
Yeah.
computer and have to buy a brand new computer because you fucked my whole computer? Like there's a certain level of experience that you should be focused on beyond just gameplay and visual graphics.
Right.
And so I think while I don't necessarily think all games need to be polished to Baldur's Gate levels, I think it'd be cool, but I don't think that's reasonable to expect. I do think that more is expected and should be expected from developers today,
Yes.
especially given how at least well developed for the most part games have been in the past.
And like also like these games that are being underdeveloped, they're not from indie studios.
No, the indie studios are
Like
publishing
they're from the
flawless games.
AAA studio. They're from the people with the most like ability to do so.
100%. And it's, I mean, literally, I think a perfect example of a game that was like just a shitty indie game that was released was Crab Game. That game
Yeah.
doesn't have game breaking bugs. It's not destroying your computer. I mean, it's a much smaller game in scale.
I was
Don't
gonna
get me
say it's
wrong.
also like I don't know if that's the best comparison. Like I
It was
would use
developed by
something
two people.
like Kena Bridge of Spirits. Like that was an indie
Oh,
title. And that
yeah.
game was absolutely fucking flawless.
Yeah. We
I mean,
also
like I
saw,
love that game. That
what
game
was
was
it?
so good.
Park Beyond came out. That was a very well polished game. I think that one is from a larger studio overall. Yeah, I mean, Bandai Namco was the publisher for it, but it was produced by Limbic Entertainment, and they're just known for the Tropico franchise. So it's not. It's not a.
I would say they're more indie than AAA.
I would say they're not a AAA game, and their game release was again another good game release, which I love, by the way, one of my favorite
Yeah.
games.
Like I think it's also
Um,
different. Like the level, like the gap of financial availability between like the Activisions of the world and like the true indies of the world is so massive that like just
well,
because you're
yeah,
not indie doesn't mean you have massive budgets to work with.
yeah. I mean, the last Call of Duty 2022 had a $1 billion budget. That's
Yeah.
what they spent to produce the game. And the fact that, I mean, they outsold that, which is beautiful and great. And I love that for them. But when you're spending $1 billion on something, I expect Avatar, not
Avatar
Call of
hang.
Duty. That's actually
Yeah.
a unfortunately good comparison, despite
It's
the fact
kind
that
of
I
fucked,
love
but like it's
the
also not.
like it's a good example though. Like Avatar, the Blue People franchise is
Oh my
very well
god!
developed.
Did you just say the Blue People franchise?
I don't know how to like
Yo,
the
this
Alien
podcast
franchise.
is fucked.
I don't know what to call it. Like, that's what everyone always.
Hey,
always
that's that one
refers
with the
to it that
Smurfs,
way.
right?
But like the comparison between like a visually very expensive franchise like that versus like Avatar: The Last Airbender,
Yeah.
there's such a clear difference in cost. And we don't see that cost when it comes to like Call of Duty, because Modern Warfare 2 is not really visually much that any more compelling than Modern Warfare 1 was. And there's like a $300 million difference in the budgets between
Yeah.
those two games. So like that's why I'm like, I just can't wrap my head around it because it just doesn't make sense.
It does make literally zero sense. 100% agree. It's just absolutely insane that like we have games that are coming out that they're not finished, and we all know it, right? Like it's nothing new.
And we can see that they're unfinished before we even get to them.
Yeah,
And,
like
and this actually leads to a good point. Is a lot of reviewers talking about Starfield right now. I know Bethesda has rolled out consistently buggy games. Like they don't have Baldur's Gate polish, but they are a AAA studio. However, what I've heard so far from reviewers is that they're not running into bugs at all, which has been a fantastic thing to hear and makes me twice as excited for Starfield as I was before. Because I'm hoping we do see a really high level of polish from an Xbox-owned studio. I think it's about time. I mean, Microsoft tends to not have studios produce very great games. I mean, Crackdown 3 was like one of the biggest letdowns of all time. So I'm looking forward to all kinds of things in the future. I'm hoping we get better polished games. I'm looking forward to playing Baldur's Gate 3 more. And I'm looking
yeah, I'm actually excited. I finally got the game. So I'm excited to finally fucking play this game. Like I've heard a lot of great things, and I mainly just want to look at dudes' dicks. Like that's really where I'm at.
We're literally going to play this.
The more penises I can look at, I think the better off it's going to prove the game to be.
Yeah, I don't think there's a limitation.
I didn't know there was more to this game outside of looking at junk. Like I just thought it was I thought it was actually just like a porn game. Like you're just gonna look at dudes' cocks. Speaking of dudes with this new Destiny season coming out this week. And I'm actually really excited. So like I've seen some leaks, and I don't know. You want to hear about the leaks I'm hearing about? Because it's I'm hearing leaks that we're getting a familiar face back into Destiny.
Is this the leak that we talked about last week?
It probably is, but like maybe they missed an episode. Maybe the people missed the episode. If you didn't watch last week's episode, let me know in the comments so I can tell Nukie how wrong he is. I'm now gonna make 10 alt accounts just to put that in the comments, so he's never gonna believe any of these comments are real.
Well, not now.
No, but I think honestly, yes. Like I've seen a lot of leaks, and I'm seeing a lot of like people who don't tweet out bullshit tweeting about it. So that makes me very excited. I know a lot of people are like, I will come back to Destiny when Cade's back, and like I would love it. I'd absolutely love it.
Absolutely, I'm looking forward to Cade being
totally amazing. I'm hyped. I am definitely hyped for it. Like I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I think people are going to really enjoy it. I'm going to really enjoy it. So I hope everyone else does as well. Unless your name's Nukie, then you go fuck yourself. You know what I mean? Like I'm just calling like I see it.
Well, that is all I think we have for today. Thank you so much for tuning into the podcast. I have so much trimming to do now because
you better not trim out me talking about dicks.
We're going all over the world with this podcast, having a great time. Make sure to subscribe to us on your platform of choice. Hit that like button if you're on YouTube. Share us with your friends. I mean, we're just trying to get information out. We're trying to have a good time. And make sure to join the Discord. The link's in the chat. You can join our little fantasy league that we're getting going. You can talk to Praww about esports because that's all Praww talks to me about. And I think Praww just needs someone to talk to esports about.
I do, honestly. I need someone to talk about with like professional Call of Duty, but not actually Call of Duty because I don't want to play real Call of Duty. I just want to talk about Call of Duty.
Oh man, but I hope you all have a great week. I know we're posting this episode late, but we're also talking about shifting the way that we're doing this because not a lot of news comes out on the weekends, And I think there's, like Pra said, there's a lot of value in getting this out on like a Monday. So have a great week, and everyone take care. And I'll see you all next time.